Hello, you guys.
Hey, good evening.
Clarence and Kyle, I was wondering if you just, however you want, tell us a little bit about yourselves. Like what led you to be where you are today, what you love, what you enjoy.
You want to go first, Cal?
Have at it, Clarence.
Yeah, so I'm a big sci-fi person, so pretty much anything in space is what I love. How I came to Doctor Who, maybe Cal can tell the story better, but we were both working at a company in Hattiesburg, and he just introduced me to the show and just told me to watch it, and I was highly skeptical. A madman in a box, of course, but yeah. He got me on, and he from the very beginning he's been kind of my sounding board for thoughts on the show and how I feel about certain episodes. So he very much was the person that got me on board Who. So yeah.
So who's your first Doctor?
Chris Eccleston. Yeah.
Eccleston, okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, same here.
Oh, yeah, she's our heart.
Yeah, I started from that 2005. Obviously late. I started from 2005
Right.
and moved forward, and I guess I've been on board ever since.
Right.
So for me, I'll echo what Clarence said. I've always been a sci-fi fan. I've always been a comic book fan too. From even the days before I knew how to read, my grandfather would buy me comic books. Whenever I was a little kid. So I remember comic books fondly from my grandfather, and of course my mother would buy them too. I remember going to see Star Wars in '77. So it was like I've always been up in the comic books and the whole sci-fi genre. Doctor Who, I remembered as the man with the scarf and the big blue box. That was my memory of Doctor Who. Netflix, however, reintroduced me to Doctor Who back in probably 2003, 2004. And what made me obsessed with Doctor Who was I told someone, where do I need to start? And they were like, you probably want to start on the 5 Doctors. And I said, I only want to see the guy with the scarf. I don't care about the other doctors. And he looked at me and he said, you do realize this is the same person, which I didn't. Because I'd only seen Tom Baker back in the day, so I had no clue. Once I found that out, I was like literally obsessed. My life goal was to see the regeneration, see the different ones. So that's kind of my introduction to Doctor Who. But Clarence has the interesting story, and this kind of leads into where discussing Who came from. So he walks into my office one day and he says, hey, man, I'm looking for something to watch. And I say, of course, Doctor Who. What was fun to me about watching Clarence watch Doctor Who was I knew what was coming and he didn't. And being able to sit there and say, the only water in the forest is the river. You'll understand that one day, and stuff like that. Or, man, I just don't think I can get into this, David Tennant. Just wait. Trust me, David Tennant. So discussing Who came about probably around 2014, and I moved away. Our jobs changed, and the company that we worked for was purchased by another company. So I moved away. And I was on another podcast that was a Doctor Who podcast. And quite frankly, I missed talking to my friend. And I had another co-host that was on this other one. And I said, Clarence likes Doctor Who. This guy likes Doctor Who. I like Doctor Who. Why don't we start discussing Doctor Who, hence discussing Who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so funny because Cal mentioned Netflix. And I want to throw a question to you guys. Do you think that since we have Netflix and we have this ability to go back and watch things that we maybe saw growing up, or, even before Netflix, you probably saw a show and never would see it again unless you went out and purchased the DVD. So do we think that has kind of spurred fandom along a little bit because things are so easily accessible? We can go back and watch it over and over again.
Yeah. I think so. I think streaming on demand video helps a great deal on that one, especially because Suzanne and I are two totally different people. I can sit and catch stuff the first crack, and she'll completely miss things, and then it's like, and then she says something, I'm like going, no, dear, it's like this that actually didn't happen. And so so we'll go back and watch it again, and she'll say, well, why did that happen? And I'll go, okay, and I have to shut up because I go into instant river song mode and go, spoilers. but so I like the fact, I like video on demand. I like streaming video for the benefit that sometimes you catch stuff again, or you'll run into somebody as you're discussing things. Like, and when we sit down with our niece Brianna, and she'll mention some things, and I'm like going, oh man, I gotta go check that out again. Okay, let me see if that was something some little nuance that I missed in an episode.
She's pretty bright. I wish she could have joined us. But I was gonna say, I love the streaming because I like being able to watch something whenever I want, watch it over and over, have a marathon night where I should go to sleep, but I can't go to sleep. Like I remember watching an Alfred Hitchcock series when I was little, and it's on Hulu, and I'm addicted almost every night. I cannot help it, So that's exactly what you're saying, Yeah,
and then you go on a little bit further and you look at the cosplay that has pretty much just boomed in the last 5 years. I mean, people have been doing it forever, but now it's become a thing in the consciousness of Americans, basically, because it's been going on everywhere else much longer. So, people can go back and look at details, minute differences, look at the costumes, get them just right. So it's a different world we're living in.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to be living in it.
Absolutely.
Good timing, yes.
Yeah. So I have a quick question, if you don't mind, real quick for you guys, because the fact that one of you watches, and it seems like a lot more in detail than the other, do you ever find yourself like quoting something or saying something that you think Suzanne should know, and she looks at you and goes, just tell me?
Oh, it's you. Yeah, if I could put that in more succinctly than that. Yeah, exactly what you said.
Clarence, does that sound familiar?
It sounds very familiar. Kyle is my Doctor Who version of the smug book reader. The person who's read all the Game of Thrones books and just want to kind of rub it in your face just a little bit. He's the comic book / Doctor Who version of that.
No, I'll just say that I'm OCD, and whenever I obsess with something, I just happen to memorize stuff. I can't.
Yeah. There's this. I still classify myself, and I'm still very, very entry level geek. I mean, it's like I've got little things here and there in the office, but it's not. I mean, it's not all over the place. I mean, I picked up my first poster this last weekend, courtesy of my loving bride. And I had the little. I picked up a lanyard at a con over the autumn, and a couple folks are looking at that going, I heart DW, and I'm like, I love Doctor Who. And they're like, oh, okay, I know that show. I'm like, yeah. So you pick, and people pick it up. People pick up little things over time. I've got little quotes I'll put up on my little whiteboard outside of my office. Outside my office door. Quotes from Matt Smith and Tennant and stuff like that, and Eccleston. Every once in a while, something real snarky will come along and going, I gotta slap that up. For a few weeks.
And much like cosplay, I think geek has very much become mainstream.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I
don't want to necessarily go complete cosplay, but I mean, at least a couple posters here and there, some trinkets, doodads, or whatever have you. Yeah, I think it's highly acceptable, But I'm not ready. I'm not ready to go completely cos. Not yet.
Well, speaking of the cosplay, my niece, who's like only maybe 25, 26, she came up with this idea. We were going to make a new jacket, but I told her, I know you've never designed a jacket before, but I love your idea. I want you to draw it. And then I'll share it with an artist, somebody who is good at drawing fashion, and we'll get them to redo it and get your okay on it. But what it's going to be, it's going to be like a leather jacket. It's going to be the shade of the TARDIS, that blue. And on the back is going to be, I've got a friend who paints, and we're going to get her to spray paint or something, somehow, the bad wolf. Oh. And then the buttons are going to be roses.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the cross, the little cross that's up on the ambulance.
Yeah, the St. John's. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like the St. John's ambulance.
Yes, thank you, St. John's ambulance. Exactly. Thank you. I think something like that being a trim or something like that would be something, just something a little more subtle. I mean, it doesn't have to be so completely out there.
Yeah, I like that.
But I like, but the rose would be nice as like buttons or whatever have you.
So
okay, just ideas.
So what would you consider like your most popular fandom that is requested for your jackets?
Well,
if you don't mind going back to the jacket real quick, I may make a suggestion for you. Okay. Maybe for the ladies, you could put the buttons being a rose, and maybe for the guys, if you could find some of the St. John's.
There you go.
So then you can multi-purpose.
Great idea.
We can do that so easily.
I love your idea. That's a wicked good idea. Yeah. I like that.
Cool beans.
Yes.
So what were you going to ask, Clarence? I forgot.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask this. What is your most requested cosplay jacket?
Well, The Walking Dead is not one of my favorite TV shows. I like the comic book better, the comic book series, but I'm just not, for some reason, I just really can't get into the zombie thing. I'm thinking, I wish that the zombies would like unite and figure out how to have a better existence, Yeah. It's kind of depressing to me to see them all going, and all that. Like, when is this ever going to stop for them, And they want the Rick Grimes suede jacket. They want his denim jacket, which we're working on with Luella from Indolo's Cosplay. She's going to make those for us. Oh, wow. They want the Negan, the black leather jacket that's really sharp. I mean, it's sharp enough anybody would wear it, even if it's not cosplay, So they just want those jackets.
Yeah, and that show does have a very distinct style. So I definitely can see why people would request those.
Yeah.
Now, the jacket that I'm looking for, that I've looked around and I haven't really, it's hard to find my size, so I'll put it like that. But
you are pretty tall.
Jack Harkness jacket.
Oh, dude, yes. That horse blanket, RAF dark blue horse blanket, wool jacket.
Yes, I think that's it.
I'd sell my mother to the gypsies for man. Let me tell you, that's on the short list of acquisitions. My ninth Dr. Blazer, which was the first jacket that we ever got done custom. I mean, and I got it with a thick lining in there, and I regretted it almost immediately thereafter.
Because we're in Pensacola, we only ever wear it one day of the year.
And my nephew, we just got one done for my nephew,
and it's much thinner.
It's much thinner. I tried it on real quick, like before we gave it to him. I went, oh yeah, that's the way I should have got it. It was but it is what it is. That's I just have to get another one done. But okay, we'll RAF one, Captain Jack. I'll keep you in mind. Like a good example of varying for climate and for areas of the world where the customer comes from. The Supernatural the duster that duster jacket, leather duster, which gorgeous, and we go sometimes thicker leather or thinner leather depending upon what they're going for.
Dean Winchester.
Dean Winchester. I couldn't remember the character. I just
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Supernatural because we saw Mark Shepard, which I don't know which character he is because I don't watch Supernatural, but he's on there. We actually saw him this past weekend at Con Castabros in Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh.
So yeah,
very interesting guy.
Yes, very interesting. And mention the Concave, we saw a lot of great cosplay up there as well.